Hello, everyone. So today I want to talk to you about relationships, how to improve your relationships. So it's, either with a partner, with a spouse, or it can be also with your child, with a parent, your mother or your father. Can be with a sibling, a brother or sister, the relationship with a friend. I've had many sessions lately around relationships, especially around partners, spouses. And so I wanted to give you a bit more clarity what kind of work you can do to improve your relationships. So what I see, for instance, during my sessions, it's really when you do some work with a therapist to improve your relationship, to actually choose the right therapist for you. It's really important to have in mind that what you want is to gain clarity, better discernment on what's happening in your relationship. And you want to really attain peace in your relationship and that freedom of choice, so that to have enough peace in your relationship to feel free to make the best choices for you that aligned to you, um, to your well-being, to your heart. And so really what I have in mind when I do those relationship sessions is really to help you gain empowerment. Because some people ask me after a relationship session, for instance, with when it's been really challenging in their relationships with their partner, is it going to help us stay together? Is it going to help us maintain a good relationship, or on the other way around, clearing any blocks and restrictions between us? Maybe it means that we're going to end the relationship straight away. What is the impact of actually working on doing some therapy work? Because some people can be scared that it's actually going to change things so much that actually they're not going to stay together, which can happen. It can really happen both ways. So I usually start a relationship session by sharing the soul profile of the other person, because it really helps understanding better at soul level the other person, so that you can actually choose a therapist to do that, to really help you understand better the other person, not to actually satisfy your ego and think, oh, okay, that's why that person is like that, or that he or she is like that. I understand now. No, it's not to actually feed your your ego of confirming things. No, it's actually much deeper. It's really to connect to the other person on a very deep level, and being more into your heart space and gaining compassion for that other person. So it really helps because, you really want to get into that heart space to make things better and to be in that energy of peace in your relationship. Because what it's going to really help shift things around. Because if you in your heart space and in that energy of peace, of course, as you know, relationships are always a mirror of what's happening inside of you. I know we don't always want to say that. We once again, the ego wants to have control of what's happening during tensions or conflicts, and trying to make a point, to be right. But there's always a reflection of what's happening, the other person in front. So, as I said, it can be your partner, your child, your parent, a sibling, or a friend. They always mirror to you a reflection of what's happening inside of you. So, everyone in our life is actually playing some roles, like in a theater play. And we create that reality by making those choices to actually be in those relationships, to really help us to experience our life the way we want. So we always have that freedom of choice to choose the right relationships for us that mirror what's happening inside of us, at the time. So you have to take that into account, your own responsibility of what's happening. And so where, where was I? I just, what was I saying? Yeah. So basically, you want to be in that space of that heart space of peace and unconditional love so that you can let go of all the ego, all those stories that you tell yourself in your head about the relationship, about the other person, having feeling some anger or fear or whatever the negative feelings that can happen around tensions in relationships. And the purpose of those sessions is really to get back to your heart. And if there are things to let go, then you can let go and go deeper into the meaning of that relationship, and how to improve things with the other person. So that's what we see when you you want to go deeper into knowing the other person. It's really to help you connect to that other person at a deeper level. Then it's a part that people like a lot, and my clients like a lot. It's when I look at the different lifetimes, if you have shared any lifetimes together in the past, and it's going to really help you understand the flavor of your relationship. So, if you've had many incarnations, many lifetimes together, of course, when you meet that person, there's going to be that sense of, oh, we've known each other forever. There's like a big attraction, and it's like all flowy because it's like as if, yeah, you've already had some lifetimes together, and depending if you were family members, siblings, or if you were already partners or married in a past life or friends, it's also going to help you understand why your relationship is that way. Sometimes you're trying to change your relationship because there's something you feel is lacking and you don't know why. And then, maybe you were siblings many times in past incarnations, and now you're like, oh, it's funny because we have that complicity, big laughs and really good times together, but there's some spark that we don't have, like, I have in other relationships. So it really helps you understand how relationships can be very different. I'm talking about partnerships there, of course, but you can also relate to other types of relationships. It's going to help also maybe in a um, parent and child relationship. It's the same if your child was your father or your mother in past lives. It's going to maybe explain why you feel your child is so bossy and ruling, wanting to rule everything in your house, in your life. You're like, wow. It's like the authority there, it's me, it's not my child. What's happening? So it really helps you understand a bit better things at a deep level, and then you're like, okay, I'm not crazy, things that I can feel, I've been feeling for a long time. It's actually true. It's not just something, an invention in my head. So this, helps a lot. And then what I do when I look for blocks and restrictions, and I clear those blocks. So maybe you've got some shared karma together or some contracts, and that can be really blocking. Um, so I'm going to explain that. Some people think having a soulmate contract with another person is really romantic. It's like, love at first sight, and just, feeling so connected to the other person. And it's wow, it's wow. And then as time goes by, it's like, it's not that romantic. I feel a bit trapped in that relationship, lack of freedom, a lack of freedom of choice. I feel like, uh, yeah, trapped. There's not a lot of space to make some choices in my life, and that happens because, yeah, soulmate contracts are actually very, blocking, and they block, yeah, that freedom of choice, of expression, of movement. And then it really ends up in a lot of codependency in your relationships, and not just your current relationship, but maybe, your previous ones. And then you're like, why am I always attracting those kinds of relationships? So you have, of course, some karmic patterns there that, repeat themselves, because you have that program inside of you. So you tend to attract the same kind of relationship. So it's really good to clarify that, because you can have blocks in relationships that are have been blocking you in all relationships that, need to be conscious and cleared. You want to really understand, what's happening at a deeper level, and then you can have specific blocks to that current relationship that have been, blocking you for some time, or more recently. And the purpose of clearing that, and be conscious, about that, what's happening, has been happening, sorry, in your subconscious, um, is that then the impact of clearing that, all those blocks, is that you going to be free of making choices that are good for you, that are positive for you. That's really the consequence of, having those relationship sessions with therapists, working on those relationships. It's because at the end, so that's what I've seen, in many sessions, is that either you decide to stay in that relationship. So, of course, I mean around partnerships, not around parent and child, or it's a different kind of choice. But in partnerships, you can decide to stay in that relationship, and, make it work. But then it's going to be easier for you, because there's going to be more flow, and you're going to feel, yeah, some freedom, some space to make the right decisions, and that are more aligned to you, and not feel that you just obligated, in that relationship, lots of obligation. And so there's going to be more flow, more freedom, and that's how you can really improve that relationship. And by doing that, automatically, the other person is going to mirror back to you those changes. So, as you know, in a relationship, there are three entities. There's you, the other person, and the relationship is another entity, a dynamic entity between the two of you. So that, dynamic entity, that the relationship, is going to change. You're changing, so automatically the other person is going to change as well, even if the other person is not, doing any work, any therapy work, or any, going to see a therapist or changing things in their life. Automatically, that person has to have some impact, of some kind. And so the other possibility, of course, is that you feel that it's because you're in that heart space, and you have more flow, more freedom to make those, positive choices that are very clear to you. Um, then you might, decide to end the relationship, but it's also very positive because you are in the right space to actually start another relationship that's going to be different and better for you. And if you have, let's say, children together, it's going to really help you stay in a positive, peaceful relationship with that other person, because you still need to be in contact with that person, and it's really going to help you, your children, and your family. Because too many times what we see is that people end relationships because they just, of course, they can't stand it anymore. Too many challenges, too many tensions, too many ordeals, and because they don't do the work of actually, the inner work to let go, of old patterns, and to be in that unconditional love heart space, and to free their heart, and to be more into that forgiveness for the other person, for the relationship, but also for themselves, and in letting go of that past. What happens is that they stay stuck in that space where the relationship was, and even though they have physically ended up the relationship, they still emotionally and vibrationally, what I can see, they still in the relationship, and they're still there. Even though maybe they might be on their own, or they might have met someone new to actually create another relationship, they still are feeding that old relationship with that, those negative um, emotions, and often trapped emotions. So they're not able to actually be in the right space for a new relationship. And often there are a lot of tensions as well with their previous relationship, and then of course affecting their children and their family. So yeah, that's that inner work that you do with a therapist, either as I do in with Akashic Records, clearing old karmic patterns, or patterns from this lifetime as well. Um, it's really impactful to do this kind of inner work, either with also an hypnotherapist, or any kind of energetic work, and vibrational work, working in those different dimensions and frequencies, so that you can really um, connect to your inner self better, to your heart, be in your heart space, and be in the present moment to really fully create a reality that really serves you, and is really positive for you. That's always the purpose of those kind of relationships, is to be living your present moment in a better way, being more connected to to the instant moment, to your heart, and to your higher self. Having that direct flow with who you are at a deep level, without those blocks that from the past, that can sabotage your current well-being, your current relationships, um, and and um, and the way you feel in your everyday life. Yeah. So I just wanted to to bring that clarity around relationships, why it's so important to take some time, and even if you have been separated for a few years, or doing that those relationship sessions can be so freeing, because otherwise you don't have the, what I can say as an example, you don't have the right soil to plant seeds. It's like having some old soil that's not fertile for some new life, new relationship. It's really important to actually either you make the right changes, and then the right choices, and then you can see that it's actually not your current relationship that's the problem, not the other person, but all those old karmic patterns that you had, or not karmic, but just patterns, really. They can be also genetic, transgenerational, or personal, from this lifetime. So it's either they having impacting you so much that it has been mirrored by the other person, but then letting go of those can change the relationship. Or either you end the relationship, but then you can free yourself up for something better in your life. So yeah, let me know if it resonates with you, and I will see you in another video. Bye bye for now.